Hello and welcome to Sports Talk, a wrap-up of the spring sports season at East Brunswick High School. Hi, I'm Ken Saroka, and I'm joined in studio by the Supervisor of Athletics for East Brunswick Public Schools, Chris Yannazzo. Chris, not springtime. I mean, we suddenly jumped from the cold, cool to super hot, but we do have to talk about spring sports here.
So, yeah, like you said, it came quickly for us.
Well, aren't you glad? I mean, aren't you glad this hot weather came after most of, if not all, of the competitive activities are done?
Absolutely. We started off in March with a little bit of snow, a whole lot of cold. So for these spring athletes, it's a tough acclimatization for them, where they go from cold to what could be today very hot. We had a couple 90-degree days during the season, but I'm sure the athletes are happy. We're happy that it has finally got hot. The summer is here, and they're off to do their workouts, preparing for the next season.
All right, so let's start talking about the baseball team. Stay outside here. Baseball team had a good seasonal record, 20-7. Not quite the same kind of finish that we had last year.
So they weren't GMC champions this year, but they were Red Division champs again. Like you said, 20-7. Overall, had just great games out there. What the team does best is they have created over the past 3-4 years this family attitude, and I think the seniors are the great people to really help to push that along. And what great teams have is that family feeling where they want to play for each other and continue working. So we had some seniors in our all-conference awards, Ryan Flynn and Tyler Burnham, and you add David Bermudez to that list, he got all Red Division. So we did have some accolades out there for our athletes. Ryan Flynn was one of the top batting, most hits, I believe, in the state. He was a top 10. I think he finished with 476 batting average, which is almost unheard of.
Yeah, wow, it is.
So yeah, great season. Ace Tyler Burnham did a great job on the mound. Had our guys. We had Hunter Central on the ropes at their place, and had a tough inning, losing to the eventual champions. But we had a pretty good year, losing to Monroe in the GMC game, who were one of the finalists. So we were right up there with the top groups in both the state and the GMC level, and I just think, Coach Kenny's done a great job. Him and Coach Bohm do a great job. And the seniors, I'd like to just mention them: Matt Bardis, Tyler Burnham, Ryan Flynn, Evan Deckhazer, Jay Marchese, Nick Martino, Matt Nelson, David Parabello, and Christian Shelley.
I'm talking about Tyler Burnham. Some speculation and the talk about him potentially being drafted. Now, as we tape this, we're in the second day of the Major League Baseball amateur draft. So first round was yesterday. Obviously not a first-round selection, but some buzz about that. Have you been contacted by professional sports, by organizations, to kind of get information about him?
They usually go through the coaches. I have not got any, communication from the pro athletes. Their scouts will come to the games. And what we did this year is we actually made a window in our windscreen so they can have their radar guns and they can see exactly where his pitch location and things like that are. So we tried to make it as comfortable for them without drawing attention to it and make it uncomfortable for Tyler.
And that would be, I think, the first baseball player selected since, I want to say, Carl Thormore?
Yep, Carl Thormore. I think he was selected by the Rockies.
Right. But we hope that Tyler does get selected sometime in this rather long. I mean, Mike Piazza was, a 69th round or something in the 60s there. So hopefully we'll get some positive news as this Major League Baseball draft unfolds. All right, so we switch to the girls and softball team. Softball team had a pretty rough year, it looks like.
They had a little bit of a down year. Last year coming off of your Central Jersey Section Championship. This year they were 6-16, but they were very young. Only 3 seniors on the team: Courtney Beth Anania, and Aaron Pelletier. Our lone seniors, we brought back 2 starters from last year. So as Coach Brady, he did a whole lot of teaching this year. And a lot of the girls who did come up, it was full effort at all times. And they just ran into a tough Red Division, tough GMC schedule. And, you're playing high-caliber teams at all times because if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. So that's kind of the thought that Coach Brady had with some of our games. Beth Anania, lone Red Division winner for the Bears. And the girls had a little bit of a rough season having to deal with rain and rainouts. We had a lot of rain this spring season. Started off dry, then we had a ton of rain, and our fields hold water. So we were moving games around, and we thank the girls and the parents for just being so flexible with their schedules.
And, again, we talked about the weather. This is one sport, I guess, baseball and softball, where you really can't work around the weather. You can't be playing in the rain.
Yeah, it's tough. Once the fields get slick, it's all about safety. So the ADs in the conference, we get together and we try to make the best decisions in safety and also to get as many games in as we can.
All right, so let's go stay outdoors and the tennis team here. In this case, having a good record, 15-5 sectionals. Getting to that point. Again, who are the individual stars here for the Bears tennis team?
So Abi Bamididipati, I'm going to try my best to say that one. He always gets me every time I say it wrong. But no, he's our first singles player. He was our lone. He was able to qualify for the individual state tournament, won his first round game, and then lost to a very good Marlboro player that he had lost to early in the year, but he definitely cut the gap down. He's only a sophomore or junior, somewhere in that range. V. Costalal, another, I believe he's a junior, second singles. I think he went undefeated in all of our dual meet play. Yeah, the Bears did a great job. Like you said, we've got a tradition of great East Brunswick tennis, and these guys absolutely nothing different. Taking second in the GMC to very good JP Stevens team, who's perennially good in the state, just narrowly beating out South Brunswick for that second spot. And then they made it to the state semifinals, sectional semifinals, losing to that Marlboro team that I just spoke about, who's also very good. So yeah, we've got a lot of promise in this tennis team, and we only lost 2 seniors. Our seniors were Ben Tauber and Shivam Agrawal, who had a lot of positive leadership for the team. But as you can see, it's a large core young group coming back.
Over the years, we've had a lot of success with the boys tennis team, but boys tennis, girls tennis too, is one of those unusual sports where there's the team competition and the opportunity to excel individually. But one of the things I've noticed over the years is that there is not this kind of me first attitude, is that the team does come first. The individual accolades are there, but you don't have the kind of superstar mentality like I am the I am the man, or I'm the winner here, and everybody else just is on riding the coattails, as it were.
Right. So I think that's just one of the things of the culture that we have there, is that we are a team first. We try and promote that at EB in all of our athletics, and the kids do rally around each other. And you could go, if you go down the courts and watch a game, it could be a 2-2 tie, and once all those matches are coming down, everybody's cheering for that last match, and you're rooting for yourself to win your individual game, but your individual game has outcomes of the entire match. So like you said, that team effort it's important.
All right, so now we're going to take a look at the track team's records this year, both boys and girls track. This is one of those ongoing ones where, again, the team aspect maybe is less emphasized in the sense that these individual performances just stand out, time after time after time after time. And I'm mistaken, the track season just basically ended not too long ago.
Yeah.
For some of these EB participants.
So yeah, the end of the NJSIA season was June 10th, which was Saturday. That was the Meet of Champions. And we had quite a few there. We had 2 relays, 2-3 individuals, and to be in that Meet of Champions means you're top in the state. And we did have some great accolades. Coach D. Giacchino has done a great job with the program. Multiple school records were broken. Our 4x1 team boys placed 7 in the entire state. Dedrick Murphy, Alex Cameron, Callan Davies, and Josh Newton. Callan Davies, which I just mentioned in the 4x1, placed 5th in the state overall in the 400 hurdles. Kid's got a great future. I believe he's going to Rhode Island next year. We just had so many great accolades and just great support throughout the year from our booster club. We ran the EB Invitational again this year. Had some great teams come out, great competition to showcase our great facilities we have out there. So it's been a fun season, and these kids really did do a great job this year.
And for the girls too, another success story here. Also, I mean, this seems to be consistent building. That this has been taking place over years of slow but steady progress, particularly with the girls. Boys track seems to have a little more consistency, but this one has built up into something really special. Yeah,
I want to say the past 4 years, the girls have really taken on strong, and they've just, from this senior group, has really improved dramatically. And the coaches and the kids have done a great job to really build that, they love track. They want to be there, and not too many people can say they love running. Usually that's what you're doing for a punishment, or you're doing to stay in shape. These guys do it because they love it, and they've really bought into the program, and I give a lot of credit to the coaches. They really have gotten these kids to come out and want to compete, and they bring that team feel. Like you said, it's individual, but they love competing as a team. They're always cheering each other on, and they're always out there working in groups, working out in groups. So it's great. So for the girls, we had Lena Abrahams was all red division, and our all GMC team was Chelsea Stocky, Chanel Coleman, and Mariah Shumet. Mariah was the sectional champion in the 400 hurdles, just like Callan, so we have a pretty good 400 hurdle team. And she took 16th in the state in the 200 meter dash. Now the girls 4x1 team took third in the entire state, breaking a school record. Those girls were Chanel Coleman, Gabby Blaustein, Deirdre Otu, and Mariah Shumet. And Chanel, which I mentioned earlier, took 8th in the state in the 200 meter. So we had a ton of just talent and a lot of that meet champions putting East Brunswick on the map, running with their pride on their chest, and they really did do a great job.
And again, this is a chance to see over a period of time. I mean, there have been freshmen who have come up. There have sophomores. I mean, there's a pool. There's a talent pool, yep. And it starts. How do they practice at the 8th grade or 7th grade? Are there track teams down at 7th and 8th grade levels?
Sure. So we have an 8th grade track team, and they practice at Churchill, and they run their meets at the high school. So what we'll do is we'll transport them up to the high school, and they'll run, I want to say 5 or 6 meets a year. And the coaches down there do a great job. They just try to find athletes that don't do anything in the spring. Hey, come on out. We'll teach you how to hurl. We'll teach you how to throw. We'll teach you how to do this. And the kids buy in, and our 8th grade track program had a great season as well. So we're expecting more and more talent to keep coming up, and the coaches are excited, the kids are excited. We got a young group. We lost a ton of seniors. So if I didn't get to the seniors or the boys, I'll do that quickly. Raed Ahmed, John Bogner, Alex Cameron, Dan Chong, Dylan Chiaffi, Callan Davies, Jair Davis, Joe Kowalik, Tyler McLean, Owen McSweeney, Drew Spahn, Dale Uborka, Kyle Wiggins, and Matt Wolf. So it sounds like a huge group of seniors, but this is a very large team. We're about 120 boys, 130 boys strong. So when you're losing about 15 of them, you're rebuilding the next year. You
mentioned something interesting, and it caught my ear, that you have an opportunity to teach a sport in 8th grade, whereas you kind of assume that if you're a tennis player, if you're a lacrosse player, if you're a volleyball player, you've been playing this since 3rd grade, 4th grade. You've been playing club, you've been playing traveling teams, soccer. But here you can take somebody who is brand new, yep, has talent, but just hasn't been able to marshal it or harness it, right, and teach them.
Right, and I think that's what the coaches do well, is they kind of evaluate that talent and say, you want to be a sprinter, but I see you as a pole vaulter, I see you as a javelin thrower, and they'll get the kids into that to try it at that 8th and 9th grade year. And then, they blossom into something great. So it's about finding little things that these kids are good at to try and mold them into these great athletes. So before I forget, the girls seniors, and this is another large group, but again, 80, 90 girls on the track team, so when you're losing 10, it's not that bad. Lena Abrahams, Gabby Blaustein, Olivia Hernandez, Emily Hernandez, Brianna Mound, Taylor Nevin, Teresa Sawicki, Mariah Shumet, Aliza Vaca, and Viaka Vicenti. So again, big group, great job by our track team, and we expect great things moving forward.
Okay, so now let's take it indoors, someplace in the springtime. We'll be talking about indoor sports, but we talk about the boys volleyball team, and they got hit by injuries.
They did.
I know a couple of players, and just it seemed like that did take a little bit of the wind out of their sails.
Yeah, they lost a lot of senior leadership last year, but they were expecting great things with these guys that were coming up. And I think one of their leaders, Kyle Losner, he hurt his elbow early in the season. And unfortunately, he never came back from that. He actually did play 1 or 2 games at the end of the season, but he wasn't at full strength. So the other guys really did pick up a lot of slack, and we say it was a down year for us because we weren't winning the state, but we were the #1 seed in the GMC tournament. We ended up losing to the eventual champions, North Brunswick, in a very tight game at our place. And they just narrowly missed the state tournament. Like I said earlier, we like to play the best to be the best. So unfortunately, we were a really tough schedule, but you need to be 500 by the cutoff, and we were 1 game short. So we didn't make the state tournament, but I think the guys are hungry. We're going to be losing 5, 6 seniors from this group. Tom Murray, Andrew Gula, Kyle Losner, Matt Jensen, and Ben Harrop. But there's a nice young group coming back to really keep this going.
And I think one of the things I've noticed over the years, we're going back to the original days when you were in school, actually, when Scott Arnold was the coach, volleyball has exploded in New Jersey, and the level of talent in Middlesex County and around the state has just blossomed on both sides, girls and boys.
I think Central and North Jersey are really where you see your volleyball powerhouses, and we're one of them. And we compete with the Old Bridges, St. Joe's, Bridgewater. They're all in that Central Jersey pool. So we're fighting, trying to beat each other up to get out of the section, and then we can battle from there. It really has exploded. They're grabbing a lot of athletes that, playing some other sports, like you said, lacrosse. Lacrosse is booming as well. We'll get to that one in a second. Coach Portera, an old East Brunswick guy, played for our team, is really trying to get this group rallied around again and to rebuild for next year.
All right, so now let's go back outside with the boys lacrosse and talk about the boys lacrosse team here. A decent year for us. A good solid year. after a couple of up and downs, but this good year, 11-5 or 11-6.
11-6 this year. Our only loss during division conference play was to Monroe. We lost a tight game to them. We beat St. Joe's and Old Bridge for the first time in about a decade that we've beaten both teams in the same year. So we had a pretty good year, unfortunately. We lost to St. Joe's in the semifinals in a tight game in the GMC, and then in the first round of the NJSIA, we lost to Old Bridge again. We played great all year. Coach Murray really had these guys. Our offense was unstoppable. We were able to score goals. And we were a little younger in the defensive end, but we had a great face-off guy in Christian Perrine, and he was one of our all-conference players, along with Timmy Smith and Tommy Bamer. Tommy Bamer was named to the Offensive Player of the Year, and then he was also named through the coaches of the GMC an All-American. So he was just outstanding. He could be one of the most decorated players in East Brunswick history for lacrosse. So like I said, Coach Murray did a great job. These guys battled all year. And just really showed improvement throughout the year. And I think we have a young core group that's coming back, and we can expect more great things moving forward.
And for East Brunswick, I think this was I've just got to count off the top of my head, the 20th season of boys lacrosse.
That's right. You were one of our first coaches, right?
Yeah. One of them way back in the day, back in the 99-2000 time period.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good to see that program start off as originally as a parent-sponsored program until the Board of Ed picked it up, and then to see the continual progress of this team. Yeah,
it's been great. The parents have been great. It's an expensive sport. The helmets, the sticks, and the sticks break. You spend $200 on a head of a stick, and it ends up breaking. You got to go out and get a new one, get it restrung, and get ready to get back in the game. But these kids really have bought into it, and this is another team with a family feel that they play for each other. And it's like I said, it's been great to watch them play and watch them grow over the past 4 years, and exciting to see what it brings for the future.
And on the girls' side, again, a growing season, a learning season, a rough season from the record standpoint. But I'm sure Coach Paluzzo has drawn as much positive out of that and trying to grow this team into something.
Right. So talking to Coach Paluzzo, they were 4-13 this year. The record seems not that good, but what she said is it was the improvement from the beginning to the end that she really, as a coach, you see those little things that everybody else sees the record, but she sees our improvement. We had Caitlin Robertson, who's a junior, first team all-conference. We're losing a bunch of seniors this year, but we're seeing, like you said, growth in lacrosse. So a young group coming up that coaches be able to get ready and get this summer season in them. So unfortunately, we lose Brianna Bogle, Darty Patel, Anji Ragamar, Heather Solomon, Jamie Stabinski, and Sam Walker, but we do have a good group coming back, and I know Coach Paluzzo and Coach Kennard are excited about the season, and they want to do that. But before I forget, I missed the boys seniors. We'll do that quickly. Tommy Bamer, Jake Mecca, John Riscala, Isaiah Salazar, Mike Thomas, and Matt Wendell. Tough group, again, to lose, just like the girls, but again, a young core coming back.
And now the boys and girls golf team, no fans. I mean, we're not allowed to walk the course and cheer, but it's a sport that we take a lot of pride in. And you even have a retired former phys ed teacher.
That's right.
Back still coaching, though, keeping his hand in that, and Bo Henning. So the boys had a good year.
Yeah, boys had a great year. 14-4, great record. They were GMC finalists. Usually we hear the boys, Red Division champs, GMC champs, and they're going far in the state. They're a little younger this year, so they did have some young talent. And as you see, we had Brandon Way and Egan McDermott with all Red Division and all conference. So they, had a lot of great talent. We just weren't the best GMC team there, but we were a very talented team. And it shows what Brandon Way went down to the, I believe, into the section, competed well in the section. So, Coach Henning's still doing great things with that team. And the seniors on that team, again, we're losing a bunch here, so we're looking for golfers in the future. If you're a golfer, come on out, give it a try in 9th grade. Kevin Casio, Jay Minical, Chris Ing, and Jeremy Steenvorden will be the seniors in leadership that we lose.
All right, and the girls team, Coach Mark Monteseschi, with them, again, not as good as we've seen in the past.
Yeah, they're 4-peat in the GMC before this year, and when you lose one of the top players in the state, Sayaka Carpenter, it's tough to rebound from that. But Sophia Hugh and Alex Caro, who are all GMC representation, and Alex Lazar, Eula London, as our seniors with Jess Cortez, they battled hard, and Coach Mott was really happy with the way that they competed in some matches.
I would think that this was another sport. We mentioned softball taking a hit from the weather, that this was probably the second most devastated sport by the crazy weather we had this spring.
You're right, this was tough, and the greens, everything was just, it was soaked. So the courses will call you and tell you, sorry, we don't want you on it, because they don't want you to rip it up. So they played a couple weeks where they played 5 in a row just to get matches in for the division. So it's tough. These girls battled, and it gets tired carrying that bag for 9 holes trying to get through a full week of golf. But like you said, Coach Mott and the girls really did do a good job.
Okay, so we're done talking about the teams, but at the end of the year, in June, usually the first week of June, and having gone through this twice with the boys lacrosse team, it's a very wonderful time at the athletics banquet. Everybody's there. The whole East Brunswick athletic family gets to come out at one time.
Yeah, it's a really nice event that we are lucky to have such generous sponsors. They sponsor, it's the Athletic Booster Club. EBHS ABC actually runs the event, but they allow me to kind of steamhead the entire event there, and we work with coaches. We have a committee. We have a lot of special awards to give out, and we go through criteria that each award has through there that the sponsors have put forward for us, and we try and get as many kids some nice money awards as we can. So we have a ton of talented kids in East Brunswick, and it's tough. You'd love to give everybody something, but it's nice to see that these kids have earned that. And it's nice to know that maybe not everybody's getting an award, and you're kind of special, and you've earned this, whether it's money, a plaque, something to remember it by. But it's an outstanding night. The parents come out and support. We had over 420 people there over at the Grand Marquis in Old Bridge, and it's just an outstanding event. The administration, Board of Education members were there. We had coaches and teachers, and like I said, parents, and a ton of kids. So it really was nice.
And it's just, you can only do that once. You can't do this. You cannot do this for every season. But to get everybody together, the fall athletes, the winter athletes, and now the spring athletes together, that's, I think, what makes it more special, because you see all the teams represented from start to finish.
I agree, and the kids come and they just have a good time. They want to sit down, they enjoy a meal, and they talk. And they have fun, and it's nice to see them get excited for each other and cheer for each other as they're getting called for awards, and they're trying to figure out who it is through the speeches. And it was actually exciting at this banquet was our second class of Athletic Hall of Fame members. So we inducted another class, the EB greats from the past, another committee got together, board members, parents, teachers, all got together, and we went through our coaches of the past with Mr. Knoppenberger, the former AD here, and we inducted 5 people: Sonny Regalado, Tom Hockenjoss, Bill Pellegrino, Jack Brophy, and Kevin McAvoy. An outstanding group, role models for our kids, so it was great for them to see that class inducted. It was nice for them.
You just rolled off 5 names that, if we counted up the seasons in different sports, that they were either coaches or officials at, it's got to be close to 200 different sports seasons represented by these individuals.
Easily. We have 5 people.
Maybe even 300. I mean, you think about it. Bill Pellegrino, who worked in our district for, 50 some years, and most of that time he was a coach of at least one sport, if not 2 or 3, tennis, swimming, football. I mean, it's incredible to think of you read about the scandals that are going on in other school districts with different things going on with players and trafficking, recruiting, but to see these people dedicate so much of their time and energy year after year after year to that sport, and to see in multiple sports seasons even, it's amazing the kind of loyalty to East Brunswick, the kind of loyalty to the students, to the school, to this community.
Yeah, I think, like I said, these people are just great role models, and they've given so much back to the East Brunswick community, whether it's seasons of coaching, just being, like I said, role models, and just expressing to do the right things with these kids. And athletics is more than just the wins and losses. It's about what you learn from the sport to continue through the rest of your lives. And these people were great people to do that. Like Sonny Regalado, she was just...
See, everybody remembers Sonny as being like a driver's ed teacher or a health teacher.
No, she was my driver's ed teacher.
Yeah, well, as I said,
but she was one of the big proponents of our female athletics here at East Brunswick. She started our softball program off, and it's never looked back. And then you look at a guy like Tom Hockenjoss, just with the baseball team, and some of the things he did. He was a quiet leader, and he was respected by all of his players and his colleagues. Bill Pellegrino, you mentioned, 50-some years in the district. I think he was 47 years head coach of boys tennis. or a coach of boys tennis. It's unbelievable the amount of longevity these guys have. Jack Brophy with cross country. Some of the champions that he brought out, just his ability to get kids excited about coming out and starting cross country and to run for fun. And then Kevin McAvoy. The guy's unbelievable with his track background and some of the champions that he's coached. And I know he was a hurdler, and he was able to just take athletes and make them into great track athletes. And I think that's where these coaches now have kind of, bit a little bit from each one of these role models everywhere, and they're trying to make the best that they have for all of our sports.
Well, if you mentioned this being a Hall of Fame, is there going to be something either at East Brunswick High School or out at, let's say, Jade Oil Field to commemorate these people, these individuals for their service, a little plaque, a little write-up on them, something that students can see? Because, the students they're here for 3 years, and maybe they come back once in a while, or they have some kind of connection to a younger brother or sister.
Right.
But these people are generational.
Right.
I mean, is there something in the works, something at least thought about for displaying? And I mean, there are other names that are not on this list that I'm sure we'll get to, some of the more famous names in East Brunswick sporting history that deserve a spot too because of their notoriety, their fame, their dedication to a sport.
Remember, this was the second class, so we had a first class already, and there were 7 in that class.
Who are they? Who are they? Because I don't remember talking about this with
John Emery, Dud Ty, Don Weeder. I know I'm going to miss some, so I hate to start spewing off names, but a great group. And we did, there is something in the works to put together an East Brunswick Hall of Fame, but where it's going to be, we want to make sure we do it right. So we're going to take all these names, take all their accolades, put it all together, and then figure out through Buildings and Grounds and the Board of Ed and the business administrator, Dr. Vanella, all the stuff at the high school. And we're going to find out the best spot for this because we do want to showcase their talents and what they've brought to East Brunswick.
Okay, so now we come to the summertime, and everybody thinks that the life of an athletic director here is just so easy during the summertime.
Yeah, so the summertime, it's full of scheduling for next year. Securing facilities, making sure that there's no conflicts with religious holidays or school trips or anything like that that's going on, and field constraints. Do we have boys, girls, soccer, and field hockey at home? Well, if we do, we're in trouble because we don't have the field space for that. So it's working with the the ADs in the conference, and everybody's great to work with. We're very flexible on how you handle things. But yeah, a lot of the stuff that goes on has to do with just a lot of scheduling. That's all I'll say. It's a lot of scheduling and preparing for next year. The more I do in the summer, the less I have to do during the year, and I can enjoy some of the great things that our kids are showcasing us. And
that gives us an opportunity right now to thank the East Brunswick TV here, EBTV technical crew. Come out every season, multiple sports. A couple hours before they set it up, and a couple hours after they're breaking all the equipment down. They've done an amazing job over 30 years now of covering East Brunswick High School athletics, and so we definitely want to take the time as we wrap up this 2016-17 school year to give them a shout out and a word of thanks. For Chris Yannazzo, I'm Ken Saroka. Have a great summer, and we'll see you at the field next fall.